Hi, it's Jon Ray. First off, thank you for letting me read my book to you. I'm so appreciative of your support and time. Second, and then I'll get into the book, at the time of this recording, I'm still seeking out a publisher that feels like a good fit for me. If you're a literary agent or a publisher or just someone that knows about that world and resonate with anything in this book, I'd love to hear from you. You can find my contact information in the notes to this audio or at awesomeintuition.com. Thank you all so much. Let's begin. Intuitive life design, watching everything you desire unfold in perfect timing. Written and received by Jon Ray. That's me. Questions by Jon Ray and Natalie Jayne Stott. The concepts in this book have turned my entire life into a wonderful unfolding of mystery and wonder. My prayer is that they will offer you the same opportunity for transformation and growth. I'm always on the lookout for the next exciting thing in my life, and I'm confident that you are the key to opening that brilliant new door. Thank you in advance for that. If anything in this book excites you, feel free to reach out directly and share your comments, questions, and words of encouragement. My contact information is at the back of the book, which can be found at awesomeintuition.com. Thanks so much. Introduction. If you have a religion, philosophy, or belief system that works well for you and is bringing exhilaration, joy, and abundance to your life, then there's no need to read further. Your excitement and delight in that system of thought has already shown you that you need not look beyond your current faith right now. This book is for those who are still seeking, those who somewhere within wonder if there's a bigger truth that has not yet been revealed to them. This book is an exploration of the concept that we are never finished and always an expansion of thought, being, and experience. This book is not a conclusion, but an exploration of the imagination and the concept that we are more than the physical, tangible, touchable bags of flesh that we occupy and see in the mirror. It is the idea that we all know what we need to know when we need to know it. There is never one external source that will provide us with the map we should follow in our lives without the need of our personal interpretation. To be given all the answers up front would ruin the fun of choosing what we wish to experience. Truth, as I've discovered, is a subjective thing that is personal and delicious in different ways to different people. When we turn inward, we find our own truth. My truth may not match your truth, and that is okay. We do not have to have a mutually exclusive definition of truth in order to coexist in harmony, learn incredible things from one another, and live fabulous lives of upliftment. When I sat down to write this book with the help of a dear friend who asked the questions that follow aloud, I used the concept that it was possible for some system of thought grander than my physical brain to flow through me and sculpt the words as they came from my mouth. This entire book was spoken aloud into a voice recorder in 3 sessions, each lasting about 6 hours over 3 days. Before each session, as I went into meditation, we would breathe deeply, tone for a while, and sing the names of the masters and avatars we wish to guide the words that are to follow. You will find a list of the names for each of the masters and avatars we call in with our song at the back of the book. This entire book was spoken out loud, totaling 18 hours of recorded audio. For the 10 months that followed that initial recording, I tried to sit down with these words and edit them into something that they weren't. I was trying to make them sound more intellectual or humorous or something other than what they were. I was afraid of these words at first. I didn't want to put out a book that claimed it had come from some higher source in the sky, and I won't make that claim now, as I'm not sure where the inspiration came from. I only know what my process was and how it felt, which was incredible as the words came pouring out of my mouth. It is now my knowing, though it was only my belief at the time of the initial recordings, that each of us is intuitively guided, and that when we open up to that possibility, our thoughts have the capacity to take on a particular form that otherwise might not have been available to us. Whether you want to call this book something that my superconscious or subconscious mind spit out in a fit of inspiration, a fabulous twist of imagination, my divine librarian just regurgitating and rearranging in new ways the things I've read or been taught in the past, or a divinely inspired message from something that is sometimes difficult to understand with the linear mind until we choose to integrate it as knowledge, makes no difference. Where the words came from or how I arrived on them is really not the point of this book. It has been a great joy to find a teacher in every person I meet, inventing each one time and time again as my journey continues. The idea that when the student is ready, the teacher appears is more true than I could have imagined, as you'll discover in reading this book. As I read back through these words, there are obvious influences from those teaching experiences I called into my life, and I'm certainly appreciative of all of the fabulous wisdom from physical teachers and otherwise that I've received over the course of my life. Many of those teachings have been the catalyst for getting me to this current point of inspiration. For further reading and to dive deeper into the concepts presented in this book, I've included those teachers who have most influenced my life and their websites at the end of the book. If this book does nothing other than turn you on to the content produced by these fabulous people and entities, then it will have been worth the effort. It has been the joy of my life to integrate their wisdom and connect with my own. Throughout this book, you'll notice that I speak in the third person as though someone else, a collective, is communicating through me. This was not only how the words came out as I began speaking, but a consciously chosen mechanism or technique that I used to allow my linear mind to get out of the way, so that I might tap into the frequency of thought that existed in what I see as a higher vibratory realm or energy frequency, a parallel reality of thought. In speaking aloud this book, I did not ever receive a direct auditory message that one particular entity, or any entity for that matter, was communicating through me. Rather, I just felt as though I was in a heightened state of awareness and caught in a delicious loop of inspiration. This is how I experience my intuition, and it's becoming more and more a part of my everyday life. The idea that it was possible for something ethereal and benevolent to guide my thoughts, though, was an idea that at the time of the transcript that follows I enjoyed thinking about, as I still do today. There was a palpable energy flowing through my abdomen, heart, and head as I spoke this book aloud. And as mentioned, this has only been edited for grammar and additional clarification on certain concepts as I was intuitively inspired during the editing process. For the most part, I've merely transcribed what came through me in its purest form over those 3 days back in the summer of 2014. Whether my thoughts were actually being guided by what we might consider a separate consciousness other than myself, or rather a different frequency of the same all that is consciousness, or whether speaking in the third person just served as an incredible mental tool to speak aloud 90,000 words in just a few sittings that would become this book, does not really matter to me. What a thrilling way to accelerate my own personal growth, inspire that growth in others, turn a new audience onto some very interesting concepts, and see in such a visceral and tangible way the ideas, now down on paper, which I so passionately use to guide my life today. This book is a lesson in discerning truth. In the discernment of anything, the message itself must pass through the filters of the body. Should you choose to continue to listen, feel into these words with your body. How do they feel as you digest them? If something I've written feels good or exciting and even true, then latch onto that and use it in your life. In those good feelings and emotions, you're sensing that certain information has been tuned to your current personal development. Your body will always show you the information that serves you through the mechanism of your excitement. If anything you read here does not feel good, confuses you, or doesn't feel right, that's fine too. You may discard any words that you do not feel are accurate for you. This is subjective reality. You always have the choice to choose which information you'll accept as truth. Choose only that which feels exciting, empowering, and that you believe serves you. Your emotions will show you the way. Whether you are discerning the words in this book, the politician on TV, or your significant other on the couch next to you, your emotions serve as your body's way of guiding you to that which will serve you and give you the life you've always desired. It is my knowing that if an idea can be thought in the physical mind, then it can be made manifest in reality if it is relevant to your life template. The only difference between the man whose dreams stay as fantasy versus the man whose dreams become reality is that the latter believes they are possible and expects them to come to fruition without doubt. when we believe that miracles are not only possible but common, that they are not magic but rather quite logical when viewed with a higher science in mind, only then will we see our life become that of ease, excitement, and joyous expectation and unfolding. That has certainly become my daily experience using the principles in this book. I pray that you will find something in the pages that follow to be useful in your own personal journey as well. Take what your body tells you is needed and discard the rest. This is personal discernment, and it is our body's brilliant way of showing us where our own personal path lies in every moment. No two paths are the same. Compare yourself to no one. Your body will show you the path of least resistance that has been tuned specifically to you and your life experience. It has been my experience that setting an intention before absorbing any written information allows the brain to pull out and spawn relevant intuitive thought as you read. Set an intention to receive that which will prove valuable in your life. Set an intention to read the words that follow with an open mind. Ask your higher mind, or whatever higher power you believe in, even if that higher power is just your unconscious mind, to guide your thoughts and emotions in a way that you will find to be valuable as you spend time with these words. Set these intentions not only with this book, but with everything in your life, and your experience of reality will become a beautiful unfolding of epiphany after epiphany, joy after joy. The words that follow are not really important, but the intention you set before you read them absolutely is. I once told someone I love that I could find divine meaning in the pages of a TV guide. The mind has a way of showing us exactly what we need to see regardless of what we are reading. Set an intention for what you wish to receive from reading this book, and let your mind deliver to you brilliant clarity. If we are each the decider of our life, then the words that follow are my choice to live brilliantly. Godspeed. Signed, Jon Ray. That's me. The transcription. What follows is the transcription of the audio files that were recorded over 3 days in the summer of 2014. Feel free to jump directly to any chapter header or subheader in this book that resonates with you, or read from cover to cover in a linear fashion. Let your intuition guide you. Start with an intention to receive maximum benefit from reading this book. For example, I intend to receive guidance on how I can live a more joyous life. I intend to find clarity on how I can have a satisfying career. I intend to be open-minded and receive that which I need to receive. The underlying words and questions in each section are those of a dear friend who was guiding these conversations as I spoke each answer aloud. Intuitive life design. Question: what are 3 things I will be able to do after reading this book? The idea is to use concepts contained within this book to tap into your own intuition. 1. You will become more intuitive. 2. You will have an opportunity to live with more ease. 3. You will have an excuse to bring more joy into your life. 4. You will understand that anything is possible for you. What is the purpose of this book? The purpose of this book is to bring forth clarity about a shift in energy on your planet which gives you more access to intuitive ideas and concepts. To create an opportunity that opens you up to a new way of perceiving, to find a clarity that you might not have had full access to in your perceived past. The purpose of this book is to showcase that you're so much more than you perceive, to showcase that your thoughts and your ideas and your energy extend far beyond your physical apparatus. The purpose of this book is to show you how to live with ease and joy. Why is a book like this needed at this point in time? At this point in time, there are many different concepts on your planet about how things work. A book of this nature is interesting in that it does not claim to be written by one particular person, but rather by a collective of energies, a collective of consciousness. As you move into your perceived future, you will find that more and more there is a focus on consciousness in your sciences, in your communications. More and more you will begin to rely on your intuition, and this will lead you into a time of telepathic thought, where there is just a knowing of the solutions that are available. There is a knowing of what needs to be done. This book is pointing in the direction of that knowing. It is identifying that you have all the answers within you, no matter the question. This book is riding a wave of inspiration that is moving through your planet's population, which says that you all have an opportunity to choose something new. The engine of discernment inside of you will always guide you to that which is benevolent and of service to your life template. Everything that you perceive as outside of you is actually within you. That is the illusion of physical reality. In that acknowledgement of the external being the internal, you can begin to focus on shifting that which you are to effect positive change in the world which you perceive to be outside of you. You need not ever worry about what is happening outside of you. Everyone and everything is your creation. What do you mean by everyone and everything is your creation? Everything in your reality has its own frequency or vibration, which is in harmony with the vibration you are putting out. If you think about a guitar string being plucked, you hear the sound resonate in your ears while it is at a frequency that you're able to physically hear. Then the string appears to stop vibrating. However, in actuality, the string never stops vibrating. At the smallest of levels, everything is always vibrating. So what we have is a reality full of vibrations that you can either interpret with the mind or not. Just because you cannot interpret a vibration does not mean it doesn't exist. It only means that it is outside of your physical perception currently. No matter what you're looking at, you're only perceiving it as one of an infinite number of potentials or parallel versions that are available to you. For simplicity's sake, let's say that everything you look at has 26 different potentials or possible realities, one for each letter in the English alphabet. From your human vantage point, you do not see all 26 potentials or dimensions of an object at once. You only see one. And the potential dimension that you see is the one that is the best match to your current vibration, since your vibration is the lens through which you interpret the energy around you. This is why your expectation of a situation, which is likely in line with your dominant vibration, has a tendency of pulling in the potential dimension that matches the expectation. Our expectations have a way of tinting the way we're able to focus and interpret all of the potential dimensions or parallel realities available to us. All potentials in every given moment already exist as entire parallel realities in every moment. The fun in being physically focused is getting to have a tangible experience of drawing a path through all of those realities and integrating it as linear experience. In this way, the whole has a greater understanding of itself through the focal point that is you. Your thoughts act like radio or television frequencies, with your brain as the receiver or satellite dish, attracting and interpreting those waves. The thoughts you think are actually coming to you from outside of your head as frequency, not within your actual brain. The brain is just the interpreter of the waves around us, a device used within the illusory construct of reality. When you're using a radio or TV tuner, you change the frequency of the receiver, and as the frequency shifts, you are able to pick up different radio stations or television stations. These stations and channels are like the potential dimensions or parallel realities that your brain can tune to. You do not have to put much effort into creating the television or radio show you want to watch. You just have to tune into the shows that already exist on the air. In a similar fashion, the dominant thoughts or feelings that you are giving off at any given time are bringing a congruent potential dimensional frequency into your world that you then perceive as reality. You're seeing one version of an infinite number of possibilities or parallel realities, each vibrational in nature. The thing that makes this so unbelievable is that most of you are so entrained into your expectation of what your reality is that you don't leave any room for deviation from that expectation. This is why so many people experience the same thing day in and day out. When you begin to expect that things will be different from moment to moment, you actually create a new vibrational frequency that allows change to happen faster. Instead of jumping from one parallel reality to another parallel reality, which both look nearly identical, you start to frequency hop. Every potential that you could ever live already exists. Every potential way that someone else could interact with you already exists. You are shifting billions of times every second through an infinite number of still frames of parallel reality. Just as with a projector and film reel, you create the illusion of motion by shining your consciousness through the holographic nature of billions of parallel realities each second. Your consciousness is a piece of all consciousness, but your physical body and the entire universe you perceive from the vantage point of that body are actually completely different in every billionth of a second. You are a completely new person in every billionth of a second, and so is everything and everyone else you perceive. You are such a brilliant perceiver of vibrational energy that you're not even aware that you're doing this. But accepting that in each second you're shifting through an infinite number of still parallel realities begins to open up a mechanism within your belief systems that allows you to start manifesting your desires in a much faster way. Just like the film reel, you can start skipping scenes that are no longer relevant to the experience you wish to have. The idea of long processes to have something manifest become erroneous when you're able to cut out those frames and frequency hop from a reality where the manifestation does not exist to one where it does. This happens through the mechanism of invention and innovation. Thank God they invented such and such is how in a linear way you experience a completely different concept of reality. Your internet is an example of an invention which created a paradigm shift in how people experience reality and what they believe to be possible. When you focus solely on the end result you wish to achieve without worrying about process, these mechanisms for shift or invention will just appear in your reality, changing everything seemingly out of nowhere. When new, weird, exciting things are happening all around you, you'll know that you've shifted into a vibrational place of perceiving that is allowing you to experience anomaly and expedited manifestation. Expect change and do not judge it. Change, invention, and innovation are the mechanisms for cutting frames in the cinema reel of your life and frequency hopping to a parallel reality that is more congruent with the experience you wish to have in your life. Before focusing part of your consciousness into this time-space reality, you created a template reality dimension that outlined the experiences you wish to have during a particular lifetime. So while anything is possible, when something does not relate to the life template you set for yourself before incarnating into your current body, it becomes more difficult to manifest. The ease of manifestation is directly related to how relevant it is to the overall life template you designed before physically focusing into this lifetime. You know if something serves your life template by whether or not you derive joy, passion, and excitement from an activity. Those are the cues from your higher consciousness that you're exploring and living the life you wish to live. Since all potentials already exist as infinity, the experience you wished to have before physically focusing was not predetermination, but rather you setting a starting point of frequency to then watch what you would do within those beginning circumstances. In an environment where you forget that you are a piece of everything, would you be able to remember who you really are? You have infinite parallel realities which are available to be perceived by you as soon as you can find a congruent vibration that allows you to perceive them. The question is whether you are focused upon the reality you're currently experiencing or using your imagination to tune you to something even greater. You know when you've found a congruent wavelength with your desires by the way you feel. When you feel good, you're heading in the right direction. Your emotions are a GPS device for navigating an infinite framework of parallel realities where literally anything is possible and has already happened. Your only work is to imagine the potential you wish to experience so vividly that your consciousness frequency hops to the experience. The world you perceive around you is just an energy construct that you've created within your consciousness to learn about yourself. As a piece of everything, a piece of what you call God, you are experiencing and knowing yourself and God through everyone you meet. Everyone you see, meet, and know exists as an infinite number of potential dimensions or parallel versions of themselves. So in our alphabet example, in any moment you could perceive the energy of something at any letter of its vibrational alphabet. When you expect that you, people, places, and things can all have transformational experiences that allow you to perceive them differently, you're using the idea of jumping from one parallel reality where a person, place, thing is one way to another parallel reality where they are another. You are frequency hopping to a reality that is congruent to the expectation that you hold. This is the true meaning of forgiveness. You recognize that you can experience someone as a completely new version of themselves and hold no judgment of the past because the one before you has no past. You and they are each completely different people 1 billion times in every second. To truly forgive is to recognize this. To soften your vibration to a place where you can perceive someone or something at a different letter of their multidimensional energy, it would serve you to begin to use your imagination proactively. When you can truly see someone as already healed, they are healed. Isn't it strange that you can do all sorts of heinous things in your lives, hurt so many people, break so many rules, and really just be terrible people in your youth, and through the power of the human's ability to forgive, your slates are wiped clean? Forgiveness is a mechanism for softening your vibration so that you can see a parallel reality or potential of a person that was always there, just outside your vibrational range of perception. It's what viewing the world with a transformational heart is all about. In every moment, by using the mechanism of forgiveness, we can immediately see the good in everyone because we are able to view them at a different letter of their eternal alphabet. We see them through the eyes of God, who knows that everyone has the potential for love, wisdom, and grace. Every possible scenario and every possible outcome, no matter how outlandish, exists as a parallel reality for you and for those you perceive as being outside of you. Because every parallel reality and potential already exists, you can tune to whichever one you want to see in yourself and in those you perceive as outside of you. In doing this, you're not controlling the people around you, you're merely calling forth one of an infinite number of their eternal multidimensional frequencies. You're perceiving one of an infinite number of potential dimensions within them that matches your dominant thought and belief. You're all multidimensional beings that can project and perceive yourselves and each other at any potential dimension that serves you. Everyone around you is lending you the potential energy of their multidimensional self that is the best fit to your current thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. Just because you're perceiving someone at one dimensional frequency does not mean that they are perceiving themselves or you at that potential dimension or vibration. You are all dimensionally dancing with one another, calling forth the version of each other's energy that will allow each of you to have an experience of the other that is a perfect match to your current vibration. This is the underlying meaning of the adage, be the change you want to see in the world, and love your neighbor as yourself. It also explains why, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. For you will literally frequency hop into a dimension and invent a teacher with an entire past who will provide guidance to you along your journey. If everything in your reality is just a projection of your thoughts, feelings, and vibration existing within the container of your subjective consciousness, and you're just calling forth the specific energetic potentials of others that are a current match to you, then the world can be whatever you want it to be. You shift to a new parallel reality over 1 billion times a second. You are all skilled time travelers already. Having a conscious recognition of it allows you to use it to your advantage. However, for the most part, you're lazy thinkers. Your imaginations are limp and weak. It is easier for most of you to look at the world around you and accept it as what is than it is to invent the world you wish to experience in your imagination. When you are lazy in your thought, your reality will remain stagnant in nature. When you become proactive in how you imagine the people, places, things, and experiences in your past, present, and future, you begin to take control over the path through which your consciousness will navigate the infinite grid of parallel reality stacks of potential available in every moment. Your imagination is the steering wheel to your very own time machine. Each person or consciousness incarnated on Earth comes in holding a dominant frequency or life template that will guide the starting point of their life. Think of a radio frequency that goes from 000.000 to 999.999, with each hundredth of a frequency representing a slightly different set of collective agreements you have with those you are dimensionally dancing with. In actuality, these frequencies are infinite in nature, but to simplify, we'll use this range. If you're wanting to experience persecution, then you might choose to incarnate at a frequency of 001.189, which would be low on the spectrum and represent a world that was at war with itself. However, even at that frequency, you would have the option to start envisioning a better world. That better world might be represented at the frequency of 038.897, and from there you could continue to imagine a better and better world. As more and more people begin to resonate with a higher frequency version of the planet, large collectives of consciousness literally frequency hop to a better planet. Remember, the planet and the entire universe is completely new in every billionth of a second. Each billionth of a second represents a still frame of a reality parallel that has zero connection to the reality that preceded it or will follow it. So shifting to a planet at peace with itself is just a matter of knowing it to be so without allowing the external circumstances around you to sway you from your decision to experience the world in the way which pleases you. All it takes is giving more attention to the world you want to experience than the one you see all around you, and holding strong to that imagined experience. Again, to simplify, let's say that every time you interact with someone, there are 26 potential ways, one for each letter of the English alphabet, that they could respond to you. The same goes for any of the places, things, or experiences you have. We know there are actually an infinite number of potentials or parallel realities available, but we'll go with 26 for simplicity. Each of these potentials is its own frequency or parallel reality. When you approach someone, what you've termed the law of attraction is bringing forth the dimension of the other person that is the best match to your current vibrational frequency or thought pattern and placing it on top of your current dimensional receiver, your body. The person in front of you, as a conscious, eternal, multidimensional being, is their own entire alphabet of potentials, but you only interact with them at the letter that matches your current vibrational letter. You're borrowing the energy template from their piece of consciousness and rebuilding them with your own energy. In this way, they are you. So when you are A for angry, you will interact with the other people in your reality at their A vibration or a harmony of it. This is because you cannot create something of a vibration that is not in harmony with who you currently are in any moment. You cannot frequency hop to a reality stack that is out of harmony with your current vibration. So if you are H for happy, you will begin interacting with everyone else around you at their H vibration or a harmony of it. They are still the same multidimensional alphabet or eternal being they've always been. You are just using your vibration to call out and interact with them at a specific vibrational letter. You're living in your reality dimension, but everyone else is doing a dimensional polka with you as you bring forth in each moment one of infinite potential realities of those people before you in each interaction. Of course, most of you have very specific thoughts and expectations about the people you see and interact with because you do not have an expectation that anyone easily changes who they are and how they interface with you. It is this expectation that everything tomorrow will be the same as it was today that gives you the experience of being in one solid dimension that never changes. In actuality, everything is multidimensional in nature, and as we change ourselves, we begin to perceive the potential dimensions in everyone else that are a match to who we have become. The entire universe and everyone in it changes over 1 billion times a second. Your continued expectation of another and the reality you perceive will determine how the entire universe renders itself around you in your consciousness. The physical reality you experience is only one point of focus in your consciousness that acts as a holding container, TV, or lens through which other dimensions are moved in and out by tuning in and out of their particular frequencies. You are attracting to you and experiencing the potentials of yourself and those around you based on your current vibration. Most people perceive those outside of them as being separate from themselves. However, they are really just an energy makeup that you have built in your own consciousness, using part of their multidimensional energy to have an experience of learning and growth within yourself. This means through the eyes of God, you can explore any and every potential or parallel reality available to you merely by practicing it in your imagination. You merely set up a new point of focus within your consciousness by shifting your belief or expectation about someone or something. This shifting of your expectation focuses your consciousness into a new vibrational lens that allows you to see different new potential dimensions of yourself and others. Simultaneously, from that same place of higher consciousness, you could experience what it's like to turn left and to turn right at this very moment. This often shows up as premonition, déjà vu, or an intuitive knowing. All parallel realities are constantly being assessed by your higher consciousness who knows all. That information is then beamed back to you. This is why tapping into the GPS of your emotions is so valuable. In your physical form, you're only experiencing one possible potential dimension for each scenario of your life in a linear way. But your higher consciousness can jump through time and space, which are illusory, and experience both or all potentials at the same time. In this way, it's able to send you a signal that is clearly drawing you closer to that which you desire. That signal is received by you as your emotions and intuition. Does this make it easier to grasp how and why the law of attraction is possible? If potential H is the best possible potential for the things you desire to come to fruition, and you are always resonating at a vibrational frequency to potential H, then everyone in your reality will serve you in some way. Now, that doesn't mean everyone is going to be cheery and beautiful to you. More likely, you'll have a mashup of potentials A through Z, because you're constantly shifting your vibration based on the dominant thought patterns and expectations you have about different people, places, and things, the life experiences you've had, and your past interactions with the multidimensional alphabet of another. You hold different vibrational relationship with everything in your reality, which is what leads to so much contrast and opportunity for inspiration. Truly, the diversity of being physically focused at the current frequency of your planet is why you wanted to experience here in the first place. You knew that if you stayed open to it, inspiration would abound from all angles. In every moment, your vibration creates a dimensional mashup that gives you feedback showing you your true vibrational status. You call forth the vibrational letter of everything you perceive. Anything can exist at any potential letter you can imagine, but your patterns of thought and expectations force you into a vibrational stance that will only allow you to see it from a limited spectrum of perception. You have to train yourself into believing that someone that was mean today can be nice tomorrow. Remember, they are a completely different person in every billionth of a second. Something that was unattainable today can be easily gained tomorrow. Expecting that situations and circumstances have a way of shifting allows you to experience that shift by perceiving a new parallel reality of the multidimensional scenario. It is this dimensional dancing that allows the law of attraction to work the way it does. It's the expectation of the namaste. The God in me greets the God in you. The illusion of physical reality and motion is merely your consciousness frequency hopping billions of times every second to experience that which is a mirror to your current vibration. What is co-creation then? Are we creating with others? Everything that you perceive through your human container or consciousness lens is one-dimensional container pulling in other dimensional frequencies for you to view. Your consciousness moves through billions of single-frame holographic images of the entire universe over 1 billion times a second. Within that lens you call reality, you're creating everything based on your dominant belief system or vibration. It is impossible for outside stimuli to alter your reality because there is no outside stimuli, only your perception of one vibrational letter of an alphabet of possibilities in everything you perceive. Anything you perceive as outside of you is actually happening as a response to your internal vibration. What you're perceiving as other people is only the dimensional version of each person that is a match to your current vibrational set point or letter. You are all infinite in nature, and in the wild, multidimensional tapestry of reality, you are capable of lending your vibration to everyone else for the purpose of you all having the greatest possible learning experience. This is the gift you all offer one another. In the play of reality, the lover is the murderer, is the president, is the priest. Everyone is responding to your personal vibration in every moment. That doesn't mean each of you is alone, though, or that this is some kind of a virtual reality that isn't real. You are all more intimately connected than you could ever imagine. So intimately connected that there is no separation between you and the one you see before you. The experience you have of another is real, even if the physicality of the experience is illusory. Everything you perceive is responding to your current vibration, but what you perceive is merely a showcase of the vibration in those before you, which is most aligned with that which you are vibrationally asking to receive. Sometimes that resonance is a direct answer to prayer or asking, but often the one before you is acting as a tuning fork to bring you into energetic alignment with the actual thing you're desiring. Those before you are always a match to your dominant belief system. Always. They have been orchestrated by your higher consciousness, which you have all come forth from to focus into this physical reality construct. Whatever you are experiencing in your life is moving you in a direction to better tune you to the dimensional reality that you actually prefer, even when it doesn't feel that way. The more you are able to learn about your own vibrational nature in each interaction you have with another, the more you shed any emotional resistance, the more connection you find with that higher version of yourself, the more joyful experiences you bring into your life. You are always in control of your own ship. The infinite potentials that you call to you are a co-creation of collective consciousness. You make a decision and infinity readjusts itself to fulfill it for you. Here you can catch a glimpse of what an eternal being is really all about. Infinite multidimensional beings or consciousness are the collection of every possible outcome and scenario that could ever be. There are billions and trillions and more parallel realities that are all weaving and bobbing in and out of the dimensional container and lens you use to perceive reality. The collection of all of these potentials or parallels, or rather the ability to consciously choose any or all of them, is what you have termed God. Each of you is a piece of God. From the soup of consciousness, you ladle out a focal point to have a unique experience of the whole, which is God. Every time you create a new potential for yourselves in physical form by imagining something new, consciousness as a whole expands by realizing itself in a new sequence of parallel reality stacks. Consciousness is just the ability to choose the sequence or path taken through the collection of every possible outcome or parallel reality. In this way, your thoughts and desires actually serve to expand the universe as you perceive it and give God a better understanding of itself as you. Each thought opens the collective frequency of your planet up to new potentials that were not accessible from the last parallel frequency. Each new shift requires the reality around you to render with additional energy or additional and new available potentials, creating the illusion of expansion. The major delight of focusing onto Earth is to have such a diverse environment that it is impossible to do anything but fine-tune your personal preferences and launch new desires that have never been desired before from your physical vantage point. You're creators, and you're all here to create. Reality is your dimensional canvas. When you recognize your incredible ability to create the reality around you, you recognize that each of you is a builder of universes. You'll understand the Namaste, recognizing that each of you is a piece of God and can know God in a bigger, fuller way by honoring the divine wisdom which each of you carries. As consciousness, you create a path through many different dimensions or parallel realities for various purposes, but in each physical focus, you're exploring your potentials and that of others to merely experience them, take in the data, and create new experiences based on that data. You're all connected and co-creating together, but your perception of this physical reality is determined by which vibrational channel you select, which letter of the alphabet you call towards you, and which thoughts you continue to think. Your thoughts and beliefs are the remote control to your reality receiver. This is why the avatars of your planet are always asking you to love your neighbor as yourself, because in subjective reality, your neighbor is yourself. They are the version of their multidimensional nature that matches your current vibrational focus within the alphabet of potential. You are all one, but choose to use the illusion of being separate to better understand the vastness of your oneness. Said another way, you will always meet the potential in another that matches the potential of who you are in this moment as a way to learn more about yourself. If you're vibrating at letter H, you're going to experience the one before you at letter H or a harmony of it. Now, their letter H might not seem like a letter H vibration to you, but when you are feeling happy and passionate and exhilarated, be assured that the experiences that are coming to you are serving that current vibration and leading you to an understanding or knowing that serves you and the desires you wish to experience. Your higher consciousness, which you have more and more access to in every passing moment, is doing its thing, knitting together a fine infinity scarf for you to wear around your neck. The thread through infinity that you choose to experience, the mantle of spirit that you choose to wear, is determined in its entirety by the expectations you hold of everything around you and your ability to imagine it all better and better. By seeing the best in everyone, seeing the best in yourself, and seeking to notice their greatest potential, you're giving the subjective reality simulation positive feedback, which in turn renders more positive scenarios of a similar making. Loving your neighbor as yourself is the best way to move on to an even grander experience of love, wisdom, grace, and knowing. What sets this book apart from other books about similar topics? Anytime any clarity or energy is brought to a new focal point, it is brought into physical reality through the perception mechanism of the physical apparatus. Your brains are merely antennas which receive energetic information and then interpret it. This book is a unique interpretation of ideas you have always had access to at some level. It is an interpretation that comes through with the filters of your time or the lack of filters of your time. As more and more people access their infinite nature, they shed the filters that their brain has put over what is possible. This creates a new paradigm which opens up parallel reality frequencies that otherwise might have been too far removed from the existing reality to shift into. This information within this book is the same information that has always been brought through in similar texts, only through the frequency of your particular reality stack, through the filter of the physical apparatus that is the receiver, Jon. What will the reader walk away with after reading this book? The idea is to walk away with concepts that one may choose to use to find more joy in their life. The premise is to give a clarity of thought, a clarity of information, and an understanding of how we view life from a broader perspective, and give a springboard for determining the life that the reader would like to have. You are all the deciders of your own life, and the more information you have when properly interpreted through the discernment engine of your emotions, the more you're able to tune your reality to that which you most desire. The more information that one has, the more inspiration they have for deciding how they would like their life to look. The key is to feel into it and allow your emotions to guide you. Do I need to read this book in linear order, front to back, or can I jump around? The non-physical world, so to speak, is not linear, for linearity only exists as a construct when you are physically focused. The concepts in this book as we see them are not linear, but rather all-encompassing. They will come through in a linear fashion, for that is necessary in your physical reality right now to receive thoughts in a linear fashion, one word after the other, in order to have a fuller understanding. However, spirit does not communicate in words, but in energy packets. Those packets are interpreted by the receiver, and that interpretation is what you are now hearing or reading. Intuitive knowing is always how the energy of spirit finds the minds of man. Understand that the linear words on the page are not the only information you are receiving as you read these words. There is a message in between the lines of the dialogue on the page. Each word has been keyed to a certain energetic frequency, a frequency that as you read the words you yourself will be keyed to should you give permission for it. As you relax into the words, you will begin to receive the etheric frequency of the energy of these words, which will bring you to your own understanding of them in perfect timing. It is not necessary, so to speak, to read them one word after the other, although we would imagine your understanding of the content, that your ability to tune to the content will be greater when read from front to back in a linear fashion. However, revisit this information as you're inspired to, and certainly if inspired thought tells you to skip to a certain place in the book, then do so. For no concept is linear in fashion. The linearity of anything is just an interpretation of the everythingness of the eternal thought form, or absolute thought. Would you agree this piece as a whole is an energetic piece, and that each chapter has its own energy and frequency relating to the topic? Absolutely. Everything is just an interpretation of frequency or energy patterns. What the receiver, Jon, has done for this particular piece is anchor frequency in a certain way by setting forth what you might call an outline of chapters and questions. What a question does is it sets forth a certain frequency, and any question is just one side of the whole. A question is one side, the answer is the other side. It is all one coin, so to say, and when the question is set forth, it goes out as frequency and calls to it the matching answer. And in this way, each question acts as an attractor, as an antenna which calls forth the answer. All the receiver is doing, all Jon is doing in this book is taking the frequency, polarity that is the question, and finding the opposite pole and bringing that forth with more clarity. This is done by relaxing into the question and allowing the solution or answer to flow forth. You are all capable of doing this. When you are in a state of clear reception, solution abounds. Why are certain readers drawn to this book? The experience of your life has brought forth certain contrasts, certain life experiences that have formed the ideas that you have of the world. In doing so, it has created a vibratory rate of you as a personality, as an entity, as a person, and that vibration resonates throughout your perceived world. If you are reading this book, if you are hearing this message, then something within you is vibrating at a similar frequency as the message being delivered. Otherwise, you would not have picked up the book. You would not have read this far into the particular text. You would not have listened this far into the message. For in picking anything up, and perceiving anything, in seeing anything, in flipping through a newspaper and landing on a certain news story, you are proving to yourself that you are a vibrational match to it, and so something within you has drawn this text to you. You have created the experience of this book in your life at this very moment in time. You have created everything in your experience. How do I know I can trust the answers in this book? This whole process sounds pretty strange. How do you know that you can trust the answers that you receive in any book? How do you know that the novels that you read and the thoughts that they inspire are real? It is discernment, and if we can teach anything at this particular frequency of your planet, it is the idea of discernment of information, discernment of energy. The idea behind this book is not to convince you of anything, but rather to offer a certain energetic frequency or potential so that if you choose to, you might resonate with it and chime with it as a tuning fork would chime with another tuning fork. If you find that the resonance of this particular information is in harmony with the resonance that you are offering right now, then perhaps you might wish to apply it in your life. We're not saying that you must accept this information as truth, for there is no one truth that applies to everyone. All truth is just you deciding for yourself what makes sense for you, and this is the idea of discernment. All realities are available to you. The joy of life is in choosing which experience you wish to have. Whether this message is coming from an ethereal realm, whether this message is coming from the higher mind, whether this message is just being made up on the spot by the alleged receiver Jon, makes no difference. For the importance of the message is whether or not you resonate with it. It is in how you wish to apply it to your life. We're not saying that you must take everything in this message as fact. We are saying listen to it and pick out the things you resonate with and dismiss all the rest. For this is the idea of discernment, and once you can learn to discern information for yourself, you will receive answers from everywhere around you. Would you say then that even to question this book and to question its validity is a good thing? It is good to question everything. In asking a question, you bring forth an answer. The more questions that you ask in your life, the more answers you will have. Those who say that they do not understand the answers to certain things, those who do not have the clarity that they wish they had, those who feel confused or lost are simply not asking the right questions and then relaxing into them. For in the inspiration of the question, you are proving that the answer exists. They are synonymous. One cannot exist without the other. Any question that is inspired within you must have an answer. If we were you, we would ask questions of everything in our reality, for this is the only way to truly see an accurate mirror of your current vibration. In asking the question and either intuitively receiving the answer or manifesting it as experience, you will have a springboard for designing a life that is full of ease, full of joy, and full of passionate unfolding. If something feels wrong or goes against someone's belief in this book, would you suggest that they just dismiss it and move on? We would ask, why does this feel wrong? We would ask questions of anything and everything. If at any point in time we felt a welling up of energy that said this information didn't feel right, we would attempt to understand the motivation behind what is being said, the motivations behind that energy coming up, for your body is always tapped into higher guidance. Your body is turned on to the fullness of who you are, and your emotions are a guidance system which tells you whether or not you're resonating with your own personal truth. However, personal truth can only be received through the filters of your mind. In listening to your body, you will begin to understand whether or not you truly disagree with something or whether or not you have a limited belief that is holding you back from a fuller truth. Always ask yourself whether you want to believe something first. For if you want to believe something but do not believe it yet, then the only question you need ask is, what would I need to believe for this to be true for me? And then listen for your intuition. You always get to choose what you wish to be true in your own life. If something makes you angry, do you explore your anger? Do you express your anger? Or disappointment? How do you express these emotions or work through them? First, we would come to an understanding that we create everything in the experience around us by shifting through billions of parallel realities in every second. If we have created a situation that has made us angry, if we have created a situation that has disappointed us, if we have created a situation that makes us feel depressed, then we must ask ourselves, what is it within me that is creating the situation that I perceive and making me feel this way? Nothing outside of you can make you feel any way because everything is your creation. It is your decision to feel that way that makes you feel that way. You are always the decider. You're in control of all of your thoughts. You might just be out of practice in how you manage them. We understand that there can be a certain momentum to your thoughts that makes it difficult to choose something else, but in this difficulty, we would say that distraction can be your best friend. In distracting yourself from that which you perceive as unpleasant, that which you perceive as frustration, the distraction will move you into a different frequency of thought, opening up new ideas, inspiration, and solution. It would be much more beneficial for you to turn on uplifting music or something that makes you laugh, or to begin singing out loud than it would be to continue to focus upon something that is upsetting to you. You do not ever need to figure out why you feel a certain way. Simply choose to feel the way you wish to feel. Your point of power is in the present. Choose to feel good now and then continue doing that in every moment, and you will live a life of joyous adventure. Are you saying that there is no situation that's happening to you where you do not have control over your emotions? You are the creator of your experience, and so if you have drawn forth a message or a situation, if that is the way you choose to experience your reality, if you wish to live from one life lesson to another, if you wish to learn from the things around you, then by all means ask yourself, what am I to learn from this? In asking yourself what you are to learn, you will receive the answer through intuition or experience, and you will accumulate and integrate the knowledge and the understanding. You will begin to see that reality is simply a perfect mirror to who you really are. It is not necessary that you learn from strife, from disagreement, from anger, or from frustration, though. These are limited beliefs that most humans hold, thinking that they must struggle to have understanding. If you look into a mirror and see someone who is not smiling, you do not try and fix the mirror. Oh, this thing must be broken. No, you simply smile, and the mirror reflects that smile back to you. If we were in your physical format right now, we would simply choose to learn in a new way if we did not enjoy learning through the experience that we were currently living. Anytime someone says anything to you, it is because you have drawn that dialogue to you. It is because you are a vibrational match to the experiences. They are you. Everything emanates from the vibration that you hold within yourself. We would not ask, what am I to learn from this outside event, but rather, what inside of me already is causing me to bring forth these external scenarios? What is the best way to read this book? When you perceive anything, whether it be art, whether it be the news broadcast, whether it be a book, whether it be a conversation, we would go in with an intention. What do you wish to receive from reading this book? What do you wish to receive from the news broadcast? What do you wish to get out of the conversations that you have in your day-to-day life? Learning to be deliberate in your intent is a great skill to master. Before we sat down and opened this book, every single time we would say, I wish to receive this. I wish to have a better understanding about this. It is my intention that I receive this. It is my intention that the frequency of this come into my life through reading this book. We would read this book as a walking meditation, so to speak. We would set the intention and say, by reading this book, I am adding to the frequency of my intention, and every time I revisit this book, it will amplify that intention. By reading this book, I will tune my physical apparatus to the frequency and the reality which I wish to experience. In setting an intention, you draw forth to you the frequency that will resonate with that intention. In reading this book, we would first ask ourselves, what is it I'm hoping to receive from this book? And then set the intention that you will receive it. For whether it is written in the physical linear words or received through the energy that exists between the lines, you will intuitively begin to receive the answers that you wish to receive when you set the intention to do so. The book you're reading is of no consequence. Answers can be found anywhere. What if you come to the book without knowing what your intention is? If you come to this book without setting a conscious intention, then the intention of the authors, then the intention of those others who are reading it, those who have created the consciousness meld that allowed the book to come into existence, will have an influence over your thoughts. It is not mind control, it is merely that if you do not wish to be the decider of your own life, then you will fall under the frequency that is most dominant around any given piece of art, around any given text. Without setting a deliberate intention in your life, or in the viewing of anything, in the perceiving of anything, then those who have been deliberate in their intention will sway the frequency of thoughts that you have access to. This is what it means to be a conscious creator. For simplicity, let us say that you have access to 10 different ideas about the same subject right now. If you do not set a conscious intention about how you wish to perceive something, then those who have set an intention could easily sway your antenna to only have access to the 2 or 3 of the 10 overall ideas most in alignment with their intention. You still feel that you are accessing all that your brain is capable of accessing, but you're unconsciously blocking your ability to find all 10 of the potential thought packets that would otherwise be available to you in your inability to set a clear intention. Now, perhaps you are already in alignment with the overall intention of this book, and that is why you brought it into your experience in the first place. That is most likely the case, as you would not have picked it up if the intentions were not similar in some way, even if those congruent intentions seem hidden currently to you. Even if you are already in line with the intentions of the authors, we wish for you to practice being the decider of your life. Practice being deliberate and conscious in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions. We would encourage anyone reading this book to set an intention for what they wish to receive from it. What if your intention is to be open and to receive inspiration and to receive some guidance that you hadn't quite thought of before? Maybe you're not the conscious intender, but you're open and you're ready for inspiration. Isn't that a worthy drive to open the book? Absolutely, being open is shedding yourself of your filters of belief and allowing intuition to guide you. From a higher perspective, you have already set your intentions for how you wish to experience this reality. But you did not set an intention, incarnate into this physical body and say, I will never change or deviate somewhat from my initial intention. Rather, you set overall energetic themes, and in those themes, you knew you would come into this physical playground, sift through the consciousness and contrast available to you, and fine-tune the experience of that which you wish to experience. Yes, you can become open and a clear receiver. However, in your day-to-day life, as you experience the contrast all around you, as you experience life in general, you're constantly setting intentions. You're pointing at one thing and saying, I like this, and you're pointing at another thing and saying, I do not like this. In doing so, you're fine-tuning the vibratory rate of your physical apparatus. You're fine-tuning the frequency that you offer from your physical brain, the antenna which brings forth your thoughts and the parallel realities you move through in each moment. Anytime you're choosing or making a judgment about anything, you're being deliberate in how you wish to experience that thing in the future. Whether you vocalize deliberately the intent or not, you have already, through your life experience, sifted and sorted the frequency which you wish to call to you. This is always how you draw any scenario into your experience. Oftentimes you practice frequencies of thought which do not serve you, which delay the receiving, which keep you from being truly open. Oftentimes you do not trust that you truly are the creator of your reality, and so you say, oh, I will be open, because I'm afraid to be deliberate, because I do not want to be disappointed. If your true motivation is to be open, and there's no stagnation in that openness, there's no fear in that openness, the openness is truly to be guided by intuition, then by all means, approach and set your intention to be open, to be a clear channel, so that you might receive intuitively the information that you need to receive. But explore your motivations and ask yourself, do I want to be open because I want to live intuitively? Or do I want to be open because I am afraid to be deliberate? Because I do not want to say that I want something, then not receive it, and then feel guilty or somehow unworthy because I was not able to create my reality like others have? How does one become more trusting of being deliberate? Or what does one say when they are being conscious and they've been asking for something, but it's not showing up? It is important to realize that you're not creating your reality in a sense that you must take chisel to stone and literally put forth physical exertion to create something. The reality that you wish to experience already exists, for all realities exist simultaneously as parallel experiences. You're not so much building something as transporting yourself, your consciousness, to a reality that already exists and is a vibratory match to whom you've become. By using the idea of parallel reality, you might allow yourself a little more relief, ease, and speed in the creation of anything. You might allow your prayers to be answered more quickly. You might take some of the burden off of your shoulders in that you're not having to build everything from scratch, but rather you're simply allowing one of billions and billions of realities that already exist to come to you. If there's frustration, if you have set forth an intent and not seen the results, then perhaps there is resistance that is holding you back. Perhaps you have a limited belief that tells you you cannot really have this thing or that you do not deserve it. Perhaps you are in judgment of others and do not feel that they deserve the world that you wish to create for yourself, and so you are holding back the experience. Perhaps you merely need to practice patience and allow the energies to align so that everything flows into your experience with perfect timing. Reality will always offer what we call the bounce. This is how the bounce works. You will set an intention for something new in your life, but instead of that new intention, reality responds by giving you more of the same undesired thing you've already been experiencing. This is to test your energy and see if you really want to make the shift to a new paradigm of living or just paying lip service. If you respond differently when the bounce shows up, once you've set an intention for something new, only then can the reality shift. Responding differently to the bounce is the basis of graceful, unconditional living. If we were in your physical format, we would explore the motivations behind our intentions and ask, why do I want this thing? Why do I want this thing? Why do I want this thing? If you want a new car, then why do you want a new car? If it is because you wish to move from place to place to place, why do you wish to move from place to place to place? If it is because you like the freedom that you experience when you're moving from place to place whenever you want, then perhaps you should become a bit more overarching in your desire and not necessarily ask for a specific car until you can feel the full excitement of receiving it without any caveats showing up in the back of your mind. To soften your vibration, you might first just ask for freedom in travel, a freedom in moving from place to place. Perhaps you will, in opening yourself up to more possibilities for that freedom in transit, experience and open yourself up to more options for your dreams to manifest. You'll be able to hold the excitement of your desire longer without the voices in your head talking you out of it. You'll give the universe, which you've created with your higher consciousness or God, which is constantly pushing your desired reality to you, more ways to render the reality that you perceive. Use a specific car to feel the excitement about the idea of freedom and travel, and then release any specifics and let it flow into your life in an even grander way than you imagined. Finding something that you can stay excited about is really the key. The only currency you ever need is that of excitement, which rises like heat from your belly to your heart. Excitement is accepted everywhere you go. It is the key that always opens the appropriate doors in your life. Most often, when you're not receiving that which you have set your intention towards, it is because you have not realized how powerful your imagination is, or you are out of practice in your ability to hold a vision and an excitement for it. The imagination is the tuner of frequency for your physical apparatus. In setting an intention, we would sit and in the template plane of reality, the dreamscape of your imagination, the tuner of the radio called brain, the perceiver of reality, the perceiver of the hologram around you, we would use our imagination to tune us more to that which we desired, to find the feeling place of our desire and excitement for it, and then allow it to just flow into our experience through the path of least resistance. Often you say, I wish to have a new car, but so many people have said that you cannot have this car unless you have this much money. You cannot have this car unless you have a certain credit score. You cannot have this car unless you create a business which allows you to have a monthly income which can afford the car payment. You cannot have this car unless you have a driver's license or a certain insurance policy. So many things in your reality are pointing to why you cannot have your car that it is understandable why you would not necessarily resonate with the car you wish to receive and bring it in immediately. You have trained yourself out of being able to bask in the pure excitement that the end result brings you. You have muddied your vibration with all of the limitation you've put on ways that something must come to you. Process. When you believe something is only capable of coming through a few very practical options, then you limit the number of miracles that you will experience in your life. In your imagination, you can sidestep all of the limitations that have been placed on why someone can or cannot have something that they desire. You can live in the frequency of simply allowing it to flow. You can experience yourself sitting in the car that you like, driving the car. You can experience the freedom of having transit from one place to another whenever you like and never have to worry about the process that will bring the car into your experience. You can experience finding yourself in the perfect flow of traffic so that you're moving easily. You can experience the way that the leather interior smells, the way that the engine vibration purrs underneath you, the way that the gear shift feels in your hand as you move from first to second to third to fourth to fifth, even sixth gear. You can feel the power of the engine as it moves you in the direction that you want to go. You can feel how delicious it is to say, "I wish to go here," and have the car take you there instantly. You can feel how delicious it is when the perfect wheelbase glues you to the ground so that you can take turns at higher speeds. How the car is going to come to you never has to enter into your imagination. Your job is to find in your imagination the frequency of your end desire, not the necessary process. The process will present itself in perfect timing when you have practiced the end result frequency vividly enough. Spend your life dreaming and let the details work themselves out. As you gain more and more clarity in your imagination about what it feels like to have the thing you desire, you are actually living the experience in a different template reality, which is focusing your vibration. What we are trying to say is that you do not have to build the car. You do not have to build the circumstances that would bring the car. You do not have to create a process so that you can eventually get the car you wish to have. You merely need to experience it more and more in your imagination. Recognize the way your body feels as you relax into that imaginary experience, as you live the experience of what it's like to truly have your desire, as you live in the frequency of your desire, as you release the limitation that you might currently be perceiving in physical reality towards your desire, and instead just relax and soak into the feeling of imagining it already being here. You will find that the inspiration, that the intuition, that the ideas that will allow your desire to come into full physical manifestation will come to you. Feel what it's like to have the thing that you desire in your imagination, and then release all specifics about how it might come to you. Feel it and then trust that whatever comes next is leading you to a tangible experience of that feeling in physical reality. It is not you building the scenarios and the processes to bring something that allows them to flow easily into your life, but rather you shifting to a parallel reality where it is already there. Reality is a series of dimensions stacked one on top of another. You are merely tuning yourself to the reality that suits your current vibration. Allow the reality that holds everything and everyone you have ever desired to just find you by allowing it to flow in. I can't fall freely into that feeling of abundant manifestation. Is there some kind of resistance inside of me that might be the key to finding and to creating my desired manifestation? When you can release resistance, then everything begins flowing to you. Do you know how to do this? You release resistance by putting your focus on something that feels good to you. Too often you've trained your mind to think about a problem until the problem is solved. This is literally counterintuitive. When you focus upon a problem, the solution does not have the opportunity to present itself. The problem and the solution are on different frequencies. Well-being is always flowing to you, just as television stations are always being broadcast, whether you're tuned to them or not. It is only when you choose a channel that does not represent the well-being you wish to experience through your resistance that it ceases to flow to you. If you wish to sit around and find ways to distract yourself so that you do not feel the resistance of not having the things you wish to have, then that would be one way to bring it in. Write a letter that you do not send. Watch a funny movie or television show. Look around you and find things to appreciate. Anything that makes you feel better. In focusing into a place that makes you feel better, you tune your reality back to the television broadcast of well-being. Removing resistance is one way to allow inspiration and intuition and ideas to flow to you in a way that allows you to begin seeing how everything that you wish to have, everything that you've chosen through the contrast of your life, is already flowing to you. When you release your own resistance, there is nothing to experience but well-being. If you're not great at visualization or feeling what it feels like to have a car, what's an easier way to go about finding that vibration? First, we would say that you're all capable of vivid visualization, but we understand that some of you have pinched yourself off from it because you have not practiced intuitive thought as often as you might have liked to do. You've been told as children that it is silly to use your imagination, and so you've convinced yourself that playing childish games like visualizing imaginary people or things is a silly way to spend your time. In the idea that your imagination is silly, you have pinched yourself off from its ability to serve you. If we were you, we would spend time with a blank page simply drawing designs, doodling, and drawing things. And bringing your thought into physical manifestation through doodling, through writing on the page descriptive words about the things that you want, you will bring yourself more in alignment with the intuition, which is one aspect of your capacity for visualization. The more that you exercise your own creativity, the more that you will come back into alignment with your ability to visualize. We understand that at first it can be somewhat difficult to instantly step back into a vivid visualization process, and so flip through magazines, use your internet to find the things that you want, and simply focus your eyes on them. Find the frequency of the images of the things that you wish, and in finding the frequency, in appreciating the curves of something, in appreciating the colors of something, in viewing other people that have drawn pictures of the things that you wish to have, who have painted the scenarios that you wish to experience, you will begin to resonate with the energy of those things, and you will find that your visualization becomes easier and easier. As with anything, you must practice it. You would not expect to go to the gym overweight and out of shape, and after one session be completely back into shape and able to win a bodybuilding tournament. It takes a certain amount of repetition. It takes a certain amount of mental reps, so to speak, in order to bring yourself to a place where your brain, or the antenna which brings forth those visual images and your perceptions, would be strong enough to pull them in. Start small. Start with a dot on a sheet of paper and simply draw lines from that dot and see where it goes. In allowing yourself to become more visual in your day-to-day activities, you will find that when you close your eyes, your thoughts will become more visual in nature if you so wish. As with anything you wish to have in your life, you must choose it as possible for yourself, and then you will have the experience in perfect timing. Keep the faith until you see the manifestation of your desired experience. Is there something important about the connection of actually doing something with your hands, like drawing or writing, like visually creating something with your hands? Anytime you create anything, you are tuning the conceptual idea to your own frequency. Simply by handwriting your intentions, you are literally tuning those intentions to your physical apparatus, your physical perception's frequency. All reality is just a series of parallel holographic realities, billions per second, flipping from one to the other, to the other, to the other. You shift through billions of different parallel realities, one after the other, each a slightly different frequency in every second. Each reality is a still frame of the whole. It is in the shifting from parallel reality to parallel reality that you create the illusion of motion, time, and space. By creating a certain idea as a physical manifestation, whether it be you writing an affirmation down, drawing a picture, or molding out of clay a tableau that is something that you wish to experience, you're literally taking the idea of that experience and tuning it to the frequency of your physical capability to perceive that reality. In that tuning of the frequency, which is what the imagination is, you become more capable of shifting your consciousness to a parallel frequency or reality that is more congruent with what you wish to experience. Your frequency usually shifts very slowly, though, so you create the illusion that you're in the same reality and that the reality is just slowly changing through various processes that you've come to know as your truth. However, you are actually in a completely different reality each billionth or more of a second. Your brain is just like a radio, and all of the parallel realities that you could ever experience are the various infinite radio stations. Your imagination is the hand that reaches to the radio and tunes it to the station that you wish to listen to. Your imagination is the radio tuner of infinity. Anytime you're finding a thought, interpreting the energy of that thought, and bringing it into physical manifestation through writing, through art, through any type of creation, you're tuning your physical apparatus to the actual reality and physical experience of that thing. When you choose that as your truth, you expedite your ability to manifest reality in this way. By creating something that is tuned to your frequency with your hands, you are that much closer to actually walking within it as reality.